We harvested over 100 bulbs of garlic in the past month. I can't wait to start using it. I've peeled every bulb of every clove of my chestnut red. I planted 36. I think I gave one away and I feel like we ate one. So there's probably 34 bulbs in here. It's almost 5 cups of pretty small cloves. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a lacto fermentation. So instead of the pickling with vinegar, I do it with the naturally occurring yeast and bacteria that are already on the plants. With the lacto fermentation, it's really important to get your measurements right. So I'm gonna zero out my scale with the bowl on it. I actually like using grams because they're smaller increments. Get a mass of everything you're putting in there. I'm also going to use dill and basil for flavoring, so that's going to go in there too. I'm at 771 grams, and I want 5% of that. All right, so check it out. I have 771 grams, and I want to know how much salt to add. I want a 5% brine, so that's times 0.05. So I'm going to add 38.5 grams of salt to make this 5% weight by salt. I'm using the sea salt that I harvested and made from real ocean water. That's in another video. Perfect. I'm gonna round up to 39 grams because they just don't have enough significant figures. This is just for the veggies. I'm gonna put all that salt in there. This is gonna be an anaerobic fermentation, so we don't want oxygen in there. So I'm gonna make a saltwater brine so that when I fill this with garlic, the water will push out all the air so that it will be anaerobic. I know I want about 6 cups of water, so that's why I'm also using a measuring cup. I'm gonna do a 5% brine for the water as well. Let's refresh our memories how to do 5% brines. Zero your calculator out. So this is 1,465 grams times 0.05. I want to add 73 grams of salt to this water to make this a 5% solution. That's a little bit saltier than the ocean. The ocean's like 3.5%. So I'm going to use real ocean salt, an even saltier brine. I'm going to add the salt to the water. Simultaneously, my garlic and herbs, I also added salt to be 5% by weight. Just kind of coat it as best I can. All right, so I'm using a large mason jar. I think this one's 8 cups. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my dill. I grew the dill in our backyard. And basil, because we have so much basil and it's so delicious. All right, everything's already in there. I put my veggies at the bottom, the garlic on top, and again, this is all of my hard-neck chestnut red with 5% worth of salt in there. Now, the one thing I'm gonna do before I put the saltwater brine on top, now again, there is Lactobacillus bacteria all over every part of this, so this will naturally ferment on its own. But I started 3 or 4 weeks ago garlic scapes. This hard-neck garlic produces scapes. So I already pickled some garlic scapes. So I'm gonna use this to kind of inoculate this batch. Doesn't need much, just a little. And that'll speed things along. Oh, no, I almost forgot a step. Now you use these glass stoppers. Remember, you wanna keep it anaerobic. You don't want oxygen touching this. Try to keep them as submerged as possible. Now let's pour our 5% brine on top. The brine, when this is fully fermented, is one of my favorite things. So I'm gonna fill this up. You could just go over by 1/2 inch, but I'm gonna go to the top because I love sipping on fermented brine. That's all there is to it. When I first started doing a lot of fermenting in jars, I had one of the air seals because part of the fermentation, it releases CO2, so there's a buildup of gas in here. And those things are nice, but they're cumbersome and they're hard to clean. A normal lid will do the same exact thing. You just have to burp it every couple of days. So all you have to do is keep it tightly sealed in a cool, dark place, but every 2 or 3 days come by and open it up for just a minute to let the air out, let the CO2 out. And that's it. This is gonna be a long ferment. I would say a minimum of 6 weeks. Normal things like this one was good to eat after 2 or 3 weeks. This one's gonna take a long time. I actually still have garlic that I fermented from 1 year ago that's still tasty. It'll last a long time. This is still really, really good. But probably a minimum of 6 weeks before I even bother trying any of these. Thanks for watching, and I hope you get a chance to try your own homegrown lacto fermented garlic.